Belter, Palmieri.
Here.
All right.
All right. We will move to developer presentations on the 100 block of West 6th Avenue proposal, 5 minutes each. If you'd step forward to the podium here and share with us what your vision is.
Yep.
Hi. My name is Sheila Cantor. This is my husband, Jeremy. Hello. We are the owners of SJBK LLC. We recently purchased the building at 600 Oregon, the old Lehman building, formerly Steinbrenner Heating and Cooling. Our plan for this building is to rehab it and to be able to house 3 very high-end apartments upstairs and 2 commercial spaces downstairs. Right now, we have sufficient parking for the apartments, but to make those businesses and those commercial spaces viable to be able to have employees and clients, we want to expand the parking area. So what we'd like to do is expand into that lot on 6th to be able to build covered parking, so garage structures for the apartments, the luxury apartments, as well as surface parking for the businesses. I did do a little tiny, very badly drawn sketch. I want to hand those out. We are still waiting on plans from an architect, but ideally, those garages would sit sideways to 6 to minimize the reveal, so that it didn't look like there was a big parking thing there.
It would face the backside of the current structure.
So the garages would be located on the western parcel or on the eastern parcel?
It would be inside that blue box there.
Okay.
And they would be facing Oregon.
Okay.
So they're short profile.
Right. And realistically, we only need 75 feet of the 200 feet of 6th, which is why I submitted for half of the lot.
Half of one parcel?
Well, half of that 200 feet.
The two. So, Ms. Nyforth, is that one parcel or
We
2?
weren't sure how it could be divided. We were under the impression the whole thing was by it all, by none. Honestly, what we need is 75 feet from our current lot line to the east into that lot to be within code for that covered parking structure.
Currently, it is one parcel, but if the applicants or if they would like to split it, I mean, we certainly could if that's what the RDA would decide to do.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
Any other questions?
How many square feet are you proposing of constructed apartment and retail or commercial space?
Somewhere. Excuse me. I also have, actually, if you want to hand these out, these are just design concepts of what the building and apartments will look like. For checking. I believe it's about it's
I thought
about,
the building was roughly 6,000 square feet.
yeah, so it's about
3,000 upstairs,
3,000.
3,000 downstairs.
Yeah.
Currently, the way it's set up in there is 3 units upstairs, there's 2 2-bedrooms and 1 1-bedroom, but they're totally outdated. They're basically useless is the way we see them. They're low income, low budget housing, and that's not what we're trying to do with this property,
No,
so.
we're trying to appeal to like a young professional that
Somebody that's.
wants a status living situation, but maybe doesn't want to buy a house yet because they don't know exactly where they're going to end up.
We're looking for upwardly mobile, younger couples, maybe probably not kids. We're looking to compete with the Brio, what was the other one, Washington?
Washington Place,
Yeah, so.
historic,
But we're looking,
luxury.
you know, the Brio's gonna have 60 units. Some people don't want 60 neighbors. So we're trying to compete with that level of finish, raising the ceilings inside the apartment units.
Open concept floor
Opening the
plan.
concept of, opening up, and there's a lot of big windows in the upper unit facing the river. We think with exposed ventilation, exposed electrical, more of a modern feel. And
So you currently own that building on the corner?
Yes, we
Okay. Other, Mr. Hintz?
So basically, 3 units upstairs, 2 units downstairs, plus a commercial.
The 2
front?
units downstairs would both be commercial.
They'd both be commercial.
So we'd have
Okay.
room for, I don't know, maybe a hair salon or a chiropractor's office or a small retail
Okay.
boutique or something of that level. And there'd be room for 2 businesses and then the 3 apartments
3
upstairs.
apartments upstairs. And you said they're about 3,000 square feet?
3,000 per
Each
level,
level,
roughly, so
right, yeah.
depending on how we wall it off.
Right.
Roughly 1,500 per unit downstairs, and then the upstairs units would be divided. the
Okay,
50, you know.
okay. But you know, obviously, that's enough space
Right, yeah,
to work with.
we're in the very early stages, working with the architect here in town to get some early planning, trying to figure out what's the best way to go about what we've got as far as the space, but the building as it sits is, I don't wanna say useless, but it's in a great spot.
It is
It's
in a great spot.
It's a highly trafficked corner there.
Very visible.
Oregon 6th. It's the first thing you see when you come over Jackson Street Bridge. And right now, let's be honest, it's an eyesore. And we're
Yeah.
trying to correct that.
Right.
So is the 3 units upstairs, so if it's 1,500 square feet up and 1,500 down?
3,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3,000 each, okay.
Yeah,
So each
Okay.
apartment would be approximately 1,000
7.
square
right.
feet. Ish.
Okay, yeah, okay. Mr. Sam?
Is there a building attached to it on the south portion of that?
There is another little building there. It was all coming together, but I believe it is actually 600 and 602 that we own.
So you own both of them?
Yes,
Yeah, everything from that alley,
where Tamara's used to be.
yeah, where the cake shop used to be there. That little, to the, I guess it'd be the left of your cursor now, he's talking about that small, it's got like a deck on it right now.
Yeah, that
attaches to
little
one of
building.
the upper units. It's unheated, it's basically old loading dock area from whatever businesses were in there before. So,
It's a super cool building.
it is,
It's
it's a really cool
amazing.
building, yeah.
I was reading
That's
about
what
the
attracted
history
us
of
to
it,
in
and
the
I,
first place was the history of it,
Yeah.
the age and the location, and we knew that the city was very interested in redeveloping that whole district down there, and we wanted to get in on it. So now we've kind of jumped, and we need some more space.
yeah.
I know, I always kind of wondered if that loading dock could potentially be like an attached garage somehow or something.
You dream up something, anything can be dreamed up, but to really make those businesses viable for what we believe would work there, like we said, a hair salon, something, our intention is to basically white box it and then find someone to help us design it the way from the ground up. And we do have some potential interest from local businesses in town, local entrepreneurs in town, but the parking space is just, it doesn't work.
Sure, sure. Does staff have any further questions or other?
As I said, as we included in the memo, it does meet our comprehensive plan, the Imagine Oshkosh plan, a lot of our long-term plans. So any sort of development for residential, would be a welcome addition in this area.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so that was SJPK LLC. Next, we have Acquire Restoration, Inc.
That is me.
My name is Jeff Edmonds. I'm the president of Acquire Restoration and also founding member or member of Acquire Properties LLC. I buy and sell real estate on the side or along with the business that I operate and run. I got added to the calendar late, and I had no idea that there's other people that were interested in this parcel, so I apologize. I'm not trying to compete by any means. We just built a house on 8th Avenue at 131 West 8th. It had a fire. The owner contracted us to knock the existing building down, and we built a new house there. And surrounding that parcel is at least 4 parcels that are owned by the redevelopment. And so my brain started thinking, I was like, wait, we just built this house for this customer, and there's a lot of vacant lots in the city of Oshkosh. So Sean Fitzgerald,
Hi, Jeff.
thank you. Hi. He gave me a list of vacant parcels that are owned by the redevelopment authority, and obviously this is the one of the parcels that perked my interest the most. And I'm very early in the planning phase, and so my first thing that I would like to do with this property or this parcel would make ideally a 5-plex townhome type setting on the entire lot. So the full 200 feet lot by 75 or 100 feet deep, I believe. It's 100 by 200, I believe. 90. So each townhome, which I would like to sell off individually like condos, so they would be higher end, individual entrances, individual garages, no on-street parking. Each unit would be approximately 1,500 square feet. And I drew it up. I'm way early. I'm not even contact architectural or anything like that. But I have all the layout, buildings laid out, first floor, second floor. It's a 2-story structure. Sorry, I did not come prepared. And
Well, the things you provided, they have in their
Yeah.
package.
Okay,
They got
perfect.
those.
We have 'em.
Perfect.
You're covered.
Yep.
So this is my rough, obviously pending city approval via, it should meet setbacks. I've already done a little bit of research in terms of setbacks, side yard, backyard, and front. Because the total overall building, I believe, is 160 feet or 170 feet of a 5-plex townhome type. Pretty similar to the units behind Main Street.
Off of Division?
Division.
Yep.
Those townhomes over on Division, it's pretty similar look to those, but all individual entrances, obviously firewalls in between. I did talk to my engineer and architectural firm, because the one thing that I would like to avoid is sprinklers, because sprinklers in this day and age are very, very expensive. And honestly, the analysis of the market in that neighborhood for the cost of putting sprinklers in to build these it would be out of our price point to get construction completed, unless there's additional city funding or something that kicks in. So each unit would have firewall separation and meet obviously state and city codes, uniform dwelling code. Sprinkler systems. We just did one in Milwaukee, and it was $250,000 for the sprinkler. So I can't justify spending anything close to that to put sprinklers in this townhome type building.
Isn't that state statute?
It depends on how many units are in there, and then, like he mentioned, if there's firewalls, so he would have to work with our building inspections to find out what those thresholds would be.
I've already done the quick research with my engineer and architect, and they determined that a 4 or 5-plex would not require sprinklers based off the Uniform Dwelling Code UDC, as long as there's firewall separations in between each unit, which we would have. So that's my long-term goal. It'd be on slab. It would not be. There would be no basements because it's close to the river, and I don't want to worry about flooding. So it'd be on grade. No undercar parking. No nothing like that. So these units would be on grade. Garage is in there. Laundry would be in the garage as well. Actually, it's a second floor laundry, not first floor laundry. But higher end that overlook the Riverwalk. And I've done a lot of research about this neighborhood because I just did a project on 8th Street. There is no residential, unless the developer is on the corner of 6th. There's no housing in this block within 2 blocks. It's all commercial structures or it's parking lots, period. So figured, there will be a development across the street at some point in time, but in the short term, to put up 5 townhomes that's close to the dockside, close to the granary, close to the herd arena, close to the lake, the Riverwalk, close to Leech, I mean, I think they'd be highly desirable units if we do them right. And I'm not sold to any architectural design or the facade of it. I am open to anything. I do know if that I would love to do a third story of the townhome, so you have like a open deck that overlooks the Riverwalk. However, when you get to third story, you need to have sprinklers. So, not gonna happen.
And just out of curiosity, you're proposing to use the entirety. Is there any interest in half, or would that not be something to consider?
I don't think it'd be worth my time, unfortunately, because of the other parcels that the RDA owns. I mean, I could probably find other parcels that would be sufficient. You know, 9th Street, you guys have a couple, 2 to 3 there next to each other. It's not as attractive as being close to the Riverwalk and dockside of the granary and all those immediate downtown needs where there is no housing. There is no housing on 6th or 7th, period. The closest housing is 8th, or opposite side of Oregon, there's housing, but it's a block away. So there's
Until something gets built on the corner there.
Exactly. Until whoever owns those parcels develops those parcels, which that's probably going to be a long time out, realistically.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have questions?
I don't know if this is a question for you or for you.
Okay.
But basically, you've got one garage per unit. Are you required to have additional parking somewhere?
Yes, and I did talk with our planning manager on that, so they
Yeah.
would be required most likely to get a plan development overlay to account for that base standard modification. So they would have 2 spots in the driveway and in the garage, but it might not meet setbacks. So we'd probably look at a setback
Okay.
base standard modification.
But it's something that can be done.
Correct.
It should meet setbacks based off of
And-
my plan for how far it sets off the driveway.
Okay.
It should be 30 feet fat. If this area zoning is 30 feet back setback for the front, it should meet the setbacks that are required by the city.
Okay, yeah, without having plans, you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, we can
It
take a look
should,
at
it
that
should
if
meet because
need
the
be.
overall depth, I believe, is 90 feet.
Okay.
Yes,
So, and the overall depth of this building is only 30.
okay,
So there's 30 feet setback in front, 30 feet
Right.
the actual building from front to back, so that's 60, and then you have another 30 which is back, which I don't even think the back setback's 30 feet. I'm pretty sure it's like 15 or something like that. But
okay,
so either way, each townhome would have its own grassy yard, 30 feet by 35 feet. So each unit is 35 feet by 30 feet. Each unit would almost be 1,500 square feet. It's like 1422.
Okay.
And each parcel would, or each townhome would have a grassy area for dogs or kids or whatever behind each townhome, and then there'd be 30-foot setback, so you would have a driveway. And then the garages that I figured are pretty large, 20 feet, 14 feet wide by 20 foot deep. So it's a pretty large garage.
So you're anticipating about a roughly 30 to 40% pervious green space area with this development?
Correct. Because there's also side yards, which would be impervious as well.
Okay.
And then there would be, each unit would have a driveway and a not even really small sidewalk, because the sidewalk would come off the front door into the driveway. So the front yard would be 30 feet as well, which would be impervious as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, again, no action is taken when we have presentations. It's a preview of discussion at the next action item meeting. We also want to move into what would the next steps would you anticipate, Ms. Nyford?
sure, because unfortunately, we do not have a quorum tonight, we will reschedule a meeting with the RDA, so we will get in touch with you and add the agenda items back on, considering your options to purchase. So we will get in touch with you and work with your availability to make sure you're available after we have some dates that work for RDA members. So we apologize. We anticipated
This
that
is not
we would have a
common.
quorum.
This is not
Yeah,
common.
but we will try to do that sooner than later, just so you can move on accordingly. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're doing my neighbor's house right now,
Yeah.
River Mill.
Oh, yeah. Got 130 jobs in 12.
Oh, God.
So next
Water in the
we will
basement.
move to the executive director's report.
Yes.
And that would be the last item for open session if we don't have other members present. Thank you.
Absolutely. I would just like to start and make a few introductions today. We have some new staff in community development, and RDA members will be seeing them quite a bit, working on different projects here. So sitting at the table is Sean Fitzgerald. He's our economic development specialist. So he'll be working on RDA properties redevelopment and working on some of our commercial and residential redevelopment. We also have Stephen Wiley. Stephen Wiley is not new to the city of Oshkosh, but with the retirement of Miss Brandt, he's taking over the community development block grant programs. So he will be working on that program with city staff, and so you'll be seeing him at some meetings also. And then we also have Miss Emily Tardif, and Emily is taking over the grants coordinator position. She'll be working with Stephen on the CDBG program and also on some of our other grants and our RDA initiatives. So we're excited to have new staff, new ideas here, and we welcome you guys.
And please come join us at the table.
We have spots. So as far as the executive director's report, nothing new. I'll kind of go over a few of the highlights. The Rock the Block, just last week for 2022, Midtown neighborhood was selected for the location of the Rock the Block, so that's exciting with it being very close to City Hall. You may or may not have noticed, but we've been placing for sale signs out on a lot of our RDA
Yes,
properties.
been seeing those.
So we're trying to work hard just to promote those sites and let folks know they're for sale. In some situations, it might not be large enough for a house, but perhaps maybe neighbors would want it to split it, or one neighbor would want it just to make their yard larger. So if anybody is interested in any of those parcels, please feel free to call the office and we can talk through any of those different options with them.
And where could the general public go to see a list of the RDA-owned properties?
We are actually in the process, now that we have our signs out, we're updating a website that we have called developoshkosh.com. Sean is actually working with our IT division, and we'll have the different parcels on there, and we try to include like a PDF of a picture with the dimensions of the parcel too, just so folks can take a look at it. And of course, they can always go on the city's assessor's website and look at the map, aerial photo, and look for the parcel in there too.
Okay.
That should be up, hopefully by the end of this week here, should be updated.
I did have a conversation last week with the county treasurer's office asking about the county-owned vacant parcels as well. And she directed me to a website, and it looks like they're starting to put up signs also. So if you see those signs, call those numbers.
Right. We want to, obviously, there's some areas where we try to acquire multiple parcels to put together a larger developable site. But in some situations, we if there is a home that might be beyond repair in a neighborhood, we want to make sure that, we can potentially take care of it just so it improves the neighborhood as a whole. So there are opportunities for infill development or, other options. So, yeah, please call us and let us know if you have any questions. Moving down the list here, we talked a little bit about the Pioneer Marina Island area. Mr. Art Dumke still owns it, and he's still working with multiple developers to develop on it. The Miles Kimball Building, Council Plan Commission just approved their specific implementation plan last night, and council will be considering it next Tuesday, so then they can get started on their project. We are still looking at doing the 9th Ave extension once we install the Riverwalk along Pioneer Drive. Riverwalk we'll have the Riverwalk kind of over the existing Pioneer Drive, so Pioneer Drive will be vacated, and the Ninth Ave will be extended, and it will meet up with that existing crossing on Pioneer Drive. So that will be another way to get directly from I-41 to the Pioneer Drive, just taking Ninth Ave all the way down. On the Pioneer Drive Riverwalk, we are hoping to have that, be bidding that out in the next month or so. So we're getting very close with our design. And that will be right along South Main until the railroad tracks. The Boatworks property that's currently sitting, we do not have an option on that property as of right now, but we have had some interest in it. So hopefully we'll see something move forward. And then the RDA property that's between 7th and 8th Street on the west side of South Main. Mr. Andy Dumke still has an option on it. And from recent conversations, it sounds like he is trying to work on a project for that area. So that would be great to have another redevelopment project in the Sawdust District. Moving over to Marion and Pearl redevelopment area. The merge update, we're all excited to see the Brio building opening with the co-op opening tomorrow or in the next couple days. Tomorrow, okay. And then with the residential units on top. And the merge group is already working on Maxing Corners, which is on Parcel J, which is on the river.
I have a question. What does BRIO stand for?
That was a name they came up with. And I do not remember what it stands for, but I bet I could find out. I'm sure there is a background to that and why they chose that name. So it escapes me though right now. Morgan Crossing, Phase 2. Alexander and Bishop are still proposing to do Phase 2 for their development over there on Pearl. And then moving over to Sawyer Street, Oshkosh Ave, WISDOT awarded the city a grant for installing a trail in Rainbow Park. So that will connect kind of the Congress Oshkosh Ave Bridge to Panoqua. So that'll be nice to have that connector piece connecting the Lakeshore Riverwalk and then heading over to the Wyowash Trail. And then as far as Jefferson Street redevelopment, 668 North Main has come down. So the RDA purchased that earlier this year. So we are still trying to work at acquiring additional properties for our Jefferson Street redevelopment site. And then the community garden, we still have some different parties in the city that are interested in some of the community gardens. So we're still engaging with those folks.
So do we have any proposals coming out of that yet?
We don't have any existing ones. We are just working with some groups that are trying to get to that point.
Okay, so the one proposal that was being worked on 6 months ago, did that fall through?
It did. They had some of the folks that were involved with it move. I think there was
Okay.
a couple, and then I think they just determined that that site wasn't the best fit
Okay.
for them.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right. So that's for the executive director's report. At this time, seeing that we are 40 minutes into the meeting, we do not have quorum, we will need to reschedule either a special meeting or add on to the next meeting. I'm thinking because we're not looking at this until September 15th, we need a special meeting in between.
Yeah, we will, Anna in our office will reach out to RDA members and try to figure out a meeting date, maybe sometime in August.
All right, and let's see here, other business, I would like to request that we see a map or a presentation of our RDA-owned properties. And I know that we have like an Excel spreadsheet or a grid of that, but a visual tour, if you will, of that for RDA in the future. And I'd be interested in hearing from other RDA members discussion about the current status of the Jefferson Street properties. Any other business that folks want to inquire about for future meetings? Now, again, since we don't have a quorum, can we do a motion or not? We can't even go into closed session. Very unfortunate. And we only have 3 of us here as far as an adjournment. So
Nope.
can't adjourn. So this
We have to
is
stay here.
a recess.
This
This is a recess until, it would be a recess until the next,
Right,
I have not had that procedure yet, so this is new.
right.
All
So,
right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We apologize that we weren't able to do more today, but we will be reaching out to everybody and set up for a meeting in the near future.
While we have the 2 of you here, though, do you have any dates or weeks, being that it is summer and folks are hopping around, are there any dates that are not good that you know of in, I'm assuming August?
I'm gone the week of August 9th.
So leading up to the 9th?
I'm all right.
23rd is not good for me.
23rd. And I know that myself and my husband and I are going to be taking care of a family matter out on the East Coast the last week of August also. So preferably, I'm sorry, Archie, did you say the week starting the 9th
Yes.
or leading up to?
So the 9th through the
Starting
Next
the
Monday, so that week.
Okay.
9th through
Okay.
13th.
Yep.
And then, Mr. Hintz, are you the week of the 23rd?
No.
Just the
just
23rd?
That
Okay.
date, yes.
Oh, just that date.
Okay,
Okay.
the date.
but you are the week of the 23rd?
We are the week of the 23rd
Right.
to the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
Yeah.
Good night.